shivering mode for 3 or 4 hours where you have to constantly stay moving to keep warm. So that was kind of nice last night. And besides it being extra cold those first 2 nights, the weather's been really nice. The almost full moon that's super bright at night, and you can run without a headlamp, and clear sky, and yeah, it's just been, that part of it's been gorgeous, and we're really lucky to get this far down the river without any serious wind yet. So every mile that goes by that you get down the river without wind, with all that loose snow, is kind of a godsend. So I'm glad we're here now and have all that section behind us. Look forward towards Nome.
Is this kind of where you plan on taking your 24, or did you call it as you felt it?
Yeah, this was the #1 option, so if everything went well, this is where we're going to go. So I'm glad it's all worked out and that we're here and get rested up as possible and keep going.
You found yourself obviously amongst the leaders, and race going at the pace you want, slower, faster. What are you feeling with the team?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of to stay in the front of this thing with these guys. You got to take a few risks and kind of running a fine line, and some of these guys are really tough to keep up with. So, so you're trying to judge. First and foremost, you're judging your team on what they're capable of and where you want them to be, and then if people don't say they're not keeping an eye on the competition a little bit, I don't know if I believe that or not, because you kind of got to have an idea of where everybody else is and make a little bit of adjustment, at least now, more starting now, from now to the end of the race. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, I'm happy with the team, I'm happy with our position, and we'll just try to move up or do the best we can from here to the finish.
What's been your biggest challenge so far? Has it been the weather, or has it been maintenance of anything surprising in any way?
Yeah, I don't know. The way I set my race up was to do a lot of stops and a lot of short runs, so with short rests. So that's been a little difficult, but the cold those first 2 nights was difficult, but it's just cold. So not any one thing in particular. Just normal mushing stuff. Too much snow, not enough snow. Too cold, not cold enough. Mushers find a way to complain about almost anything. So
the river on this route is something that we hear a lot of complaints about, just because the monotony of no real topography changes, and it's more mental than anything to stay awake. In fact, I don't know if you heard, but Linwood Fiedler fell off his sled, and his team ended up in Ruby without him, and that's one we keep hearing over and over. Did you have to struggle with that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's usually every night between 3 and 5 or 3 and 6 or whenever the sun comes up, I always go through a 3 or 4 hour period where I fall asleep, wake back up, fall asleep, and it's amazing how quickly you can fall asleep and not realize it, and literally tell yourself, okay, you have to stay awake, and then the next thing you know, you're waking up again. It's really bizarre. So yeah, I have this every year, this part of the race where I start falling asleep sitting on my cooler, and I've said this before, but I end up falling forward and hitting my nose on the handlebar every time, and I did it about 5 times last night. So it's kind of a rude awakening, but it's just, we're running on very little sleep. I've slept to this point about 1.5 hours total since Sunday night. So yeah, it's not something you could really do on a normal, if you even stayed at home and tried to do it, I don't think you would physically be able to do it. So yeah, you're out there just falling asleep.
What's your secret strategy? Do 5-hour energy, candy bars? What's your fuel of choice?
I don't really have one. I've tried 5-hour energy in the past, and a couple times I felt like it made me hallucinate and have make my state of mind even more twisted than it was while I was sleep deprived. So I just try to run, but you can fall asleep running too. So yeah, it really is impossible to stay awake during some nights during those hours. It just happens over and over again until at some point, I guess, maybe the 3-second naps have added up, and then you're fine. You're good to go for a while.